home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Five Seasons Landworks, the best lawn care at the best prices in central Vermont. Five Seasons has 7 years of experience in residential and commercial property maintenance. Spring and fall cleanup, mowing, mulching, edging, all at prices you can afford. And in the winter, they do plowing with the same high-quality, low-cost approach. Sign up now by calling 802-249-6702 and check them out on Facebook. Central Vermont's best, Five Seasons Landworks.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
Energy. So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible. The passion. Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team. The opinions on all your favorite teams. Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no. This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A very happy Wednesday to you on the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Short show tonight. We're up until 6:10. Tomorrow, we've got a full show, so we'll have a full 90 minutes tomorrow. I'm already looking forward to that. But yeah, we're up till 6:10 today. Then it's Red Sox Mariners, rubber game of the 3-game set. Two teams have split the first 2 games. Red Sox had a great plan yesterday against Luis Castillo. They dominated that game. Mariners had some chances, but the Red Sox shut them down, and then they extended the lead, or got the lead back in the 5th inning and then extended it. So kudos to the Red Sox. Good offensive performance. I think Nick Pivetta is definitely headed to the bullpen. We'll talk about all things Red Sox with Tom Caron of NESN. He'll be with us at 5:45. I spoke to Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio earlier today. You'll hear a little bit of that. That interview shortly will be up on our podcast channel on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at WDEVradio.com. So you can go and check that out here. Kind of right when the show ends, we will have that up. You can get in on the text line, 802-585-3026. That is the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026. All right, let's waste no time, everybody. Let go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we.
Before I get to the opening thoughts, I got to tell you, I went to the dentist today. There is almost nothing that I hate more than going to the dentist. And look, my dentist is nice. The people in the office are nice. That has nothing to do with the people. If I have to go to the dentist, I'm glad I go to this place. I hate going to the dentist. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a dental delinquent, or at least I've been a dental delinquent. I went to the dentist in 2020, like right around COVID, like after COVID, like when things were open back up, but, you know, it was still COVID was going on, like, you know, really going on. And I hadn't been in 6 years. I went 6 years without going to the dentist. Went back in 2020. I think I went 3 times in the span of like the next 6 months. And now I haven't been again in 2 years. So I hadn't been since March of 2021. I went today, 2-year break. I hate going to the dentist. I can't bring myself to do it. I went today. All is good, right? No cavities, etc. So that's all great. Now it's a huge relief. But I tell you what, the dentist has changed a lot from when I was a kid. Like, I would go to the dentist every year, like you were supposed to. The dentist has changed a lot since I was a kid to now. Most things have, but I have gone to the dentist so infrequently in the last 7-8 years that every time I'm amazed by something new. It used to be when you go to the dentist, they clean, you'd likely be bleeding somewhere, right? They'd give you the little blue cup and you'd spit into. They don't do that anymore. No, they don't do that anymore. It's like some mouth vacuum essentially now. So that, you know, that continues to be interesting to me. The X-ray machines are different and better at the dentist now. I'm like amazed here. Again, I hadn't been in 2 years, but I've gone now like 4 times in the last 2 years. But every time I go, there's something new. And I've been to 2 different offices in the last 4 years because the place I go has offices in this town and that town. So it's the same company, but different offices, and they each have a little bit of a different setup. The dentist is a different place than it used to be. I'm glad I don't have to go at least for another 6 months, though. That makes me very, very thrilled. The opening thoughts are brought to you by the group over at Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Again, TC in about 10 minutes before Red Sox Mariners. There is one thing that I am worried about in this Celtics Heat series. I've said, I'm on record, I think the Celtics win in 5. The Celtics, talent-wise, tower over the Heat. I've said it, if the Celtics just play hard, they will roll. There is one strategic thing that makes me nervous, and it's something we talk about every March, and it's the idea of pace. And what I'm getting at is this. If Miami slows the pace down, and I don't know that you can do this for 7 games in a 7-game series, but can you do it in game 1? I absolutely think you can, and this is the one thing that has me a little bit scared about tonight. We talk about this every March, and I use the same example every time. I grew up in Albany. You know this. Albany made the NCAA tournament a bunch when I was growing up, and my first jobs when I was in radio, Albany was in the tournament 3 straight years. Albany was always a 15 seed or a 16 seed. And every year they played it pretty close to that 1 or 2 seed every year, whether it was UConn, whether it was Duke, whether it was Florida one year, who was the overall number 1 seed in the tournament. Every single year, Albany would play it close. How? Will Brown would take the air out of the ball, and everything would be played in the half court. What is the advantage that the 1 or 2 seed always has over the 15 or 16? Size, length, speed, athleticism. What does taking the air out of the ball do? Neutralizes size, speed, strength, athleticism. That would be the one thing that Miami could do that would make me nervous. If I'm the Celtics, I want to get out in transition. They cannot stop Jason Tatum. They cannot stop Jaylen Brown. They cannot stop Robert Williams. If this thing turns into a track meet, the Celtics will absolutely destroy Miami. They have a ton of shooters. They have guys who can play at the rim. They have guys who are athletic. They have guys who can slash. They have guys who can elevate. The Celtics have all of that. And if this game turns into transition, the Celtics dominate. If Miami can turn this into a slog and turn this into a half-court affair, they could frustrate the Celtics. One, Jimmy Butler is good in the half court. So Jimmy Butler playing in the half court offensively, that's an effective strategy for Miami. Jimmy Butler playing in the half court, drawing help, kicking out to his shooters, the Gabe Vincents of the world, the Duncan Robinsons of the world, the Kevin Loves of the world, that can work also. And if the Celtics are playing in the half court, size, speed, athleticism, that's all neutralized. And what are the Celtics prone to do at times? They're prone to settle. They're prone to settle for jump shots. If this game is played in the half court, we could see Jason Tatum revert back to that guy. We could see Jaylen Brown revert to that guy. We are taking forced threes, not in rhythm threes. Robert Williams is not a threat at the rim when everything is an outside jump shot. This is the one thing I think Miami could do that would worry me. If this game is played in the half court and is played to a snail's pace, is played to a crawl, and then all of a sudden we look up in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes to go and it's 86-83, well, then it becomes Jimmy Butler time. If I'm the Celtics, I want this game up and down. I want to see if Miami can score 110 points. Because I know if I'm the Celtics, if this game gets out, I can score 115. I want to see if you can keep up with me, and the answer is you can't. But if this game gets played to a crawl, Miami has the advantage. Now, I wonder if that is just a college strategy. Like, can that really work at the NBA level? I've seen it work in college time and time and time again, but can it work in the pros? Freddie Coleman says, yes, it can, and he agrees with me. The Celtics should be worried about it, and the Heat should try to do it.
You see it at the NBA level because we saw it a couple of times in that series between the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers where the winning team did not get 100 points in a couple of those games. So you can definitely see that, and probably more likely to see that with the Miami Heat team that even though Jimmy Butler's been terrific, they have to rely on so many different guys to score points. They don't have a Robin to a Batman like a Jaylen Brown is to a Jason Tatum. So you're going to expect that in this series, that Miami, they do not want an up-and-down game unless they're dictating. That would be the thing that worries me. And Eric Spoelstra is a very good head coach. I do not follow the rest of the NBA close enough to tell you who the best coach in the NBA is. Some will say it's Greg Popovich still. Some will say it's Eric Spoelstra. A lot of people think it's Spoelstra. So Eric Spoelstra, I have to trust, is going to have his team prepared, is going to have them ready. And if he can get them to control pace and control tempo and turn the lever up when he wants and down when he wants, that would be my one concern. On talent alone, the Celtics win this series. And I believe the Celtics will win it. Tonight, my concern is a slowed down pace and a Jimmy Butler that has the game close in the fourth quarter and then goes into Jimmy Butler hero mode and closes it out. That's the one thing I'm worried about. 802-585-3026. Are any of you worried about tonight's game? It's a simple question. It's a fair question. Are you worried about tonight's game? By the way, I also want to get on one of our texters, Virginia and Starksboro last week, who, when I said before Game 6, Joe Mazzulla didn't need to say anything to the team, I said Al Horford needed to be the guy to get the team riled up. And so it was like, wow, if we're counting on Al, we're real screwed. Well, how about Malcolm Brogdon today? Can I get a little credit here saying that Al Horford is the leader of the team, please?
We followed all season. Our leader is Al Horford. And I think he's going to continue to lead us. There's a point today in practice where, guys were, it was a little light. Practice was light. The guys were a little loose, and Al brought us together in real practice and just told us to tighten it up. And I think it's those constant reminders from our leader that's going to help us stay poised, start the series poised.
I mean, don't tell me what I say before Game 6. Al Horford needs to be the guy to bring guys together. And I get the text, Al Horford can't be a leader. Why is he? I'm just telling you, Al Horford's the leader of the team. Al Horford should be the guy to get guys rallied. Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm Brogdon, for bringing that to my attention or for confirming what I thought. Peter in Williston says, how about Victor Wembanyama going to the San Antonio Spurs in the draft? If you missed this, we haven't talked about it because, our team is still playing in the playoffs, so I'm not really concerned about the draft. But the draft lottery was last night. Spurs got the number 1 pick. That means they'll get Victor Wembanyama out of France, the 7'4", 7'5", 19-year-old who's like a little bit of, Dirk Nowitzki, but also Kevin Durant all in one shot. Like, Victor Wembanyama is supposed to be outstanding. Good for San Antonio. Like, let me tell you, this is exactly how this goes. I am happy that the number 1 pick went to a small market. I like that. I like when stars end up in small markets at the beginning of their career. And then we're going to see, him play for a year or two. And then people are going to wonder how long until he goes to the Knicks. And then he's not going to go to the Knicks. It happened with Anthony Davis. It happened with Zion. It'll happen with this kid. So Victor Wembanyama to the Spurs. I'm happy for it. I think it's good for basketball to have stars in small markets. I think it's good for everybody to see talent dispersed to not just the Lakers and not just the Celtics and not just Philly and not just, the top of the food chain. It was good when Cleveland went to when LeBron went to Cleveland. It's good if Zion could stay healthy. It's good that he was in New Orleans. It was good when Anthony Davis went to New Orleans. So I am good. I am good with this. Texter says, how about Cal Raleigh for the Mariners making an impact with his Vermont ties? Yes, we've talked a lot about Cal Raleigh. We love Cal Raleigh. I love Cal Raleigh because he's a Mariner and I'm a Mariners fan. Speaking of the Mariners, Red Sox today, game 3 of a 3-game set. This is the rubber match. Winner gets the series. Marco Gonzalez against Brian Bayo. Tom Caron of NESN. He's going to be there at Fenway, and he's going to be with us next, talking Sox here on DEV.
Own land with a single or double wide home? Visit Fecto Homes, where they can guarantee you top dollar for your existing mobile home, regardless of the year. They offer many finance options with competitive rates and down payment assistance exclusively for mobile homes. Fecto Homes has several models for sale off the lot or customize and order your own. Make the most of your time and money. Visit them today at 350 River Street, Route 302 in Montpelier, or online at fectohomes.com.
How do you make your lawn and garden grow? Stop in at your locally owned Guy's Farm and Yard stores for all your garden seeds, soils, fertilizers, lime and lawn seed. Pick up onion sets and seed potatoes. Need better lawn and garden tools to make it easier? Guy's has them, and garden accessories too. While you're growing your own veggies and flowers, grow your own chicken and eggs with meat birds and layers. Go to guysfarmandyard.com and fill out the order form. Grow well with Guy's Farm and Yard, Portland Street in Morrisville, Berry Street in Montpelier, Taft Corners, Williston, and Fairfax Road in St. Albans, and guysfarmandyard.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
I had quite a few others in the mail. They were talking about weed charging them, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
I kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, with a belief that local businesses like WDEV build strong communities. Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
We've done a broad selection of other stations, and DEV kind of represents an interesting niche. It's been one of our better producing stations. DEV has a dedicated and responsive audience, so as an advertiser, there's not much more you can ask for. Paul LaShore from Green Mountain Solar.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on a Wednesday at WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Want to move from the Celtics to the Red Sox. Our coverage begins a little while from now, actually. It's 6:10, first pitch 7:10. Rubber game of a 3-game series between the Red Sox and my Mariners. Tom Caron of NESN is with us now. TC, how are you?
Doing well, Brady. How you doing?
I'm excellent. I got to ask you this question because I follow a whole lot of Boston people, a whole lot of Red Sox people on Twitter, obviously. And I was so infuriated the last 2 nights watching them talk about my Mariners like they watch the Mariners like I watch the Mariners. Do you feel that way every day when you go on Twitter and see people talk about the Red Sox like they know what they're talking about?
Yeah. Yes. And because I really think listen, it's football nation. I understand that, and the attention span shorter than ever. People just don't watch baseball, or they glance at a box score, or they read a column that somebody wrote about a team and base their entire opinion. Watch the game. If you're not going to watch the game, just sit back and let others who watch the game comment on the game. Okay, because that's the problem. People are talking having not paid any attention to these teams.
Well, I was very frustrated by a lot of, not you, it was not you, it was other members of Boston Brethren talking about my Mariners. Pretty impressive last night what they did to Castillo. Now, Castillo has not been as good the last 4 starts as he was the first 4 starts, but still, that's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball with a good changeup and a good slider, and they got to him in the first inning, and they got to him in the 5th inning. I really liked the Red Sox approach yesterday. I thought they were very aggressive, and I thought it was the perfect way to snap out of the funk they had been in. I thought it was a really good offensive adjustment last night.
Yeah, totally agree. Especially that first inning, they came in with a really good attack plan. They were very aggressive. And you know, I mean, from a Red Sox perspective, that whole thing starts because Verdugo busts his tail up the line.
Yes.
Long has just a little bit of a bobble. And last year, Verdugo's halfway up, slowing down, and he's out. This year, Verdugo is committed to the hustle, committed to grinding out, respect 90, as Kevin Millar likes to say in our booth. And that, you know, and then he turned to the dugout, fired up. Yoshida follows with the triple, and all of a sudden you got Castillo on the ropes before he settled in. Really good start for the Red Sox last night.
You know, tonight's game, fine, whatever happens tonight. How big do you think the 9-game road trip is coming up after tonight? 3 games in San Diego, 3 games in LA against the Angels, and 3 games against the Diamondbacks, right? If you're 7-2 after those 9, that says one thing as you get ready for June 1st. If you're 2-7, that says another as you get towards June 1st. How big are these 9 games coming up?
Well, they're big, and I mean, you went on the extreme, both sides, right? If they're 7-2, you know, all of a sudden you start talking about who we adding at the trade deadline. If you're 2-7, you're trying to, you know, convince anybody to pay attention to the team when the Celtics season ends. Chances are they'll be somewhere in the middle. That's where they've been most of the time. And you know, the way they do it, I was talking to one of the executives yesterday, and you know, they've been hovering around 500, but they do it by winning 8 in a row, losing 6 out of 7. They get swept by 4 games by Tampa, come back, and then they win whatever it was, 6 out of the next. It's just the pendulum swing has been so wild from winning to losing. They got to calm that down. But it's big. You know, it's going to be Xanderpalooza to begin. It's 3 days of Bogarts mania. You're going to have to deal with that and you know, hope he doesn't stick it up your backside, and hope that he doesn't, you know, come out and remind you how desperately you could use a shortstop of that caliber. I think you got to survive San Diego. They've done okay against the Angels, did fight against them, but they're a contender now in the wild card race. And Arizona is the best team nobody knows about. I mean, that's a good little team out there. What a good team, and that's going to be a tough weekend as well. So it's a really big trip.
Tom Caron, Red Sox insider at NESN, with us here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. You brought it up that, you know, who are we adding at the trade deadline conversation? Very interesting, and I haven't thought about this at all yet, but Jarren Duran is playing so well that your outfield seems set. When Duvall comes back, is there a chance they sell him off to buy something else that can help them more down the stretch? Do they need Duvall more than they need another reliever or a 5th starter or something like that? Could Duvall be expendable even if you are buying?
Yeah, timing is going to have a lot to do about that. Like, you know, I don't know what you get for Duvall if he doesn't have time to get out there and show you that he's healthy and that he can be productive and effective. Right now, as hot as he was at the beginning of the year, as a guy with a wrist injury in each of the last 2 seasons. Last year, the wrist injury ended his season. So it's a tough call. It makes a lot of sense. Now, if you tell me that Duvall could be back, let's say at the beginning of July, and can play for a month, then yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Duran has changed the equation because this guy's been one of the best hitters in baseball since he was called up. And he's got the speed, and he's got the bat, you know, and he's figuring out the defense as part of it. You know, he could be a part of your outfield for a long time to come. So suddenly Duvall could very much become available. Now, and in the same conversation, could Kike Hernandez be a guy you move? If Trevor Story's coming back, Story could be your shortstop. Or, you know, and Kike could move to second base. But again, the fallback plan was center field. But if Duran's in center field, or Kike's not in center field, suddenly you got a couple of veterans who maybe could get you a pitcher that could make a big difference for the team.
You know, Alex Cora did not come out and say it yesterday, but it certainly seemed like he was laying the groundwork for a Nick Pivetta moved to the bullpen. I know Pivetta got the win yesterday, but he had 4 walks. He didn't get through 6 innings again. He was in and out of trouble all night. It sounded like he was laying the groundwork for it. Did you read it that way?
Absolutely. And the whip is over 2 here in the last whatever starts. I mean, he's just, the walks and hits are adding up. The runs are, problem is he's had a really rough first inning ERA too. So I don't know that bodes well for a bullpen guy. But I've always thought that his intensity, his emotion, his velocity, maybe it ticks up a little bit if he's airing it out for 1 inning. I'd love to see him, like we did in the playoffs a couple of years ago, in high leverage relief situations. Could be a real addition to the bullpen. And frankly, at this point, what Paxton showed you the other day, Kluber's not going to the bullpen. The other candidate is Houken. Houken again the other day, perfect through 3 innings, but the second time through the lineup, the batting average, the OPS, the slugging all go up. Third time it's astronomical. So, Whitlock's on his way back, maybe a week away or so. So 2 guys are going to go to the pen, and I think Pivetta and Houck have to be the guys you're looking at.
Yeah, what is the latest on Whitlock? He threw yesterday, threw 4 or 5 good innings at Worcester. I read it was his final rehab start, but now it sounds like there might be one more.
No, that was never the plan. Crawford also pitched last night. That was his final rehab start. Crawford went 3, gave up 1 solo homer. Whitlock went 4, gave up 1 solo homer. Neither guy walked the batter, which is great. Cutter Crawford, who's quietly been the most important guy in that bullpen, or the guy you've missed the most because of his ability to go bulk hitting. He comes back. Looks like he'll return for San Diego. Whitlock, it looks like he's going to make another start Sunday, so maybe get him back at the end of the road trip.
I know it stinks getting blown out twice like they did Sunday and Monday, and then yesterday they blew him out, so we haven't seen Kenley Jansen in a couple of days. Did you think his struggles were related to just kind of mentally not being there after the high of 400? Or do you think, like, hey, we saw him hit 99 on that Wednesday, and now he's at 94, and there's something physically wrong?
Yeah, well, that's my bigger concern, right? Did he overthrow it Wednesday night? I was there, and it was really an incredible moment. He was electric, and then he comes out and he can't find the command, right, at all. And the first walk of each of those 2 appearances were 4 non-competitive pitches. So I don't know. We got back late from Atlanta on Thursday. They had the big ceremony for him, and all his family was there before the game on Friday. So let's go with all of the above. Maybe he's had that sore back most of this year. Overthrowing isn't going to help your back. So I'm going to say the back and the mind were not quite where they needed to be. Can't wait to see him. I'd love to see him have a 3-run lead and get him out there with a little cushion so he can find his way again.
Tom Caron, Sox Insider at NESN, was here on the Brady Farkas Show. TC, I talked about this earlier in the week, and I don't know if you know the answer, but you might know how these things work. So I found the ESPN question to Tristan Casas about his mother who had passed away on Mother's Day. I found it completely insensitive and inappropriate given the forum. Do you know in those situations if questions get pre-sent in and pre-approved in advance? Like, did Casas know that was coming? And then kind of my follow-up, what did you make of it?
So I'll start with the follow-up. I'm with you. I thought, that's a fine question, even during the game, if you're talking to a guy in the dugout. But to me, the guy's playing the game. He never said anything was wrong with it, but he did sort of say, I was tracking some of those questions, and I wonder if a ball had been hit to me if I wouldn't have been ready. I don't know whether or not they pre-screen the questions. My guess is no, because a lot of when we go into these things, you're always looking for the spontaneous answer, and the gut. You don't want a rehearsed answer or somebody answering by rote. So I doubt those were gone over in advance. And I would agree with you that I thought a guy trying to play first base, now's not the time to talk about losing his mother as a child. I thought it was the wrong question at the wrong time.
And we have Buster Olney on tomorrow, who's part of the broadcast team. I'm going to ask him a similar version of the question as well and kind of get the story from him. TC, I'll ask you one hockey question. I think I know where you stand on this. I know where I stand on this, but I know it's what they're talking about in Boston. Does Bruce Cassidy's success in Vegas show you the Bruins made a mistake in getting rid of him?
Yeah, I don't know if it shows you they made a mistake, but it does show you he's a hell of a coach. And I don't, none of us doubted that. I like Bruce Cassidy a lot. But I mean, Doc Rivers got fired. Doc Rivers is a good coach, right? Just and you can talk about his playoff problems, but sometimes it's the wrong guy for the wrong room. I still think in the end they needed a new voice to get the most out of this team. Montgomery did it for the regular season, didn't do it in the playoffs. Cassidy's doing it in the playoffs. Cassidy said he learned some things from that experience, and maybe he's a little bit of a different coach there. He's a great coach, a really good person, but I still would say that the Bruins felt they needed a different voice and that it wasn't a mistake.
TC, you're the best. Enjoy the game tonight. Go Mariners. We'll talk in 7 days.
Absolutely. TC, got to get ready for the pregame show. We're getting ready for the pregame show as well, coming up about 10 minutes from now. Peter says a great interview with TC. Well, thank you very much, Peter. Thank you always for listening to TC, who's with us every single Wednesday. Again, the interview with TC and Freddie Coleman, both of them going to be up shortly on our podcast channels on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We'll get the CBS National News Update. We'll recap a little bit what TC had to say, and then we'll bring you the lineups for tonight's Red Sox game. Sox and Mariners, game 3 of 3 from Fenway, coming up in 10 minutes here on DEV.
1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. The House has voted to send a resolution that could expel embattled New York Republican George Santos from Congress. They're sending it to an ethics committee, which means Republicans won't have to directly weigh in on the decision. But New York's Daniel Goldman wants them to walk the walk.
When you have someone like George Santos, who has lied and deceived his own voters in order to become a member of this body, he does not get the benefit of the doubt. He has admitted to lying, and he does not belong here.
Santos faces more than a dozen felonies. The clock is ticking, but President Biden says he's confident congressional leaders will come up with a solution to the debt limit.
America is not a deadbeat nation. We pay our bills. The nation has never defaulted on this debt, and it never will.
He's cutting his trip to the G7 summit short with just a few weeks to go to avoid default. A car chase could have been a royal disaster in New York City. CBS's Michael George.
Prince Harry, his wife Meghan, and her mother stepped out Tuesday night in Manhattan for the Ms. Foundation's Women of Vision Awards. But afterwards, they say paparazzi hounded them so much, it resulted in a, quote, near catastrophic car chase.
No one was hurt. An Islamic extremist will spend the rest of his life in prison for killing 8 people in New York in 2017. Here's CBS's Matt Piper.
In court, victims spoke for more than 2 hours about the horrors they endured and called Saifullah Saipov a waste of space. 8 people were killed, 18 others hurt when he mowed them down in a truck along a Manhattan bike path, steps from the World Trade Center. A judge has now sentenced the Islamic extremist to multiple life sentences and another 260 years in prison.
A grand jury has indicted Brian Kohlberger in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. That move allows prosecutors to skip a week-long preliminary hearing next month. A judge could also set a trial date soon or sentence him, depending on Kohlberger's plea. There's a new warning about contact lenses. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez explains.
A study by the EPA finds 18 different types of soft contact lenses contain extremely high levels of organic fluorine, a marker of forever chemicals linked to cancer, fetal complications, liver, kidney, and thyroid disease, as well as fertility problems and autoimmune disorders.
Experts say the only real way to protect yourself is to wear glasses and talk to your doctor. Montana has now become the first state to completely ban TikTok. Users won't get penalized, but app stores and TikTok itself could get fined $10,000 a day anytime someone uses it. This is CBS News.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about weed charging them, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Trying to figure I got to get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Workers at a topless bar in Los Angeles are forming a union.
Maybe why, but we're not done. If we don't say we'd have more fun.
After more than a year of protests, dancers at the Star Garden Dive Bar in North Hollywood are set to become the first in the nation to unionize. They say it'll allow them to advocate for better management protections against sexual harassment by customers.
Touching on the stage, they're paying attention and they don't stop it, which makes it even worse.
The dancers also allege wage theft. They'll be represented by Actors Equity, whose members include Broadway and Disney World employees. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
There's new research that shows YouTube may be sending young users too much violent content. The Tech Transparency Project says the videos are being sent to kids as young as 9 and often feature footage of actual shootings. YouTube says it works hard to protect kids, but experts say this could traumatize them. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Good stuff with TC always. And tomorrow, here's the plan. We're going to talk to Buster tomorrow, but because tomorrow is going to be such a basketball-heavy day because of the Celtics, we're going to talk to Buster in the 6 o'clock hour. I think Buster is going to be with us in that like 6:35 range or so. Tomorrow is a full show, all 90 minutes. There's no Red Sox game, so Buster can join us live as we get them ready for the weekend series with the Padres and that big 9-game road trip. So Buster tomorrow, but later than usual. And again, it will be a basketball-focused show. We'll do some basketball early. I think the Celtics are going to win tonight. And I think the Celtics are – I don't think it's going to be a runaway. I think Miami's going to play hard. I think it's going to be a battle of pace. I think it will be low scoring. But I think that the talent just weighs out. I'm going to go with the Celtics to win 106-98. That's my prediction. Lower scoring than I'd want it. Slower pace than I'd want it. But eventually the Celtics able to pull away at the end with some free throws. 106-98. I'm going to write that down right now so I remember it for tomorrow. I'll tweet it out. That's my prediction. 106-98. Celtics win it in 5. So there you go. All right. TC was great. Red Sox stuff was great. We're going to talk more about the Adam Duvall, Kike Hernandez potential of a trade. I do think it's very real. Story is going to be back earlier than we thought. And Duran is running away with this job. So where exactly are you playing Duvall? So if Duvall can come back, I think he's a bench player for you. And if he's only going to be a bench player for you and he might be a starter for somebody else, like I can think of a team in Seattle that needs an offensive piece, I'd go and try to get a bullpen arm or, a depth starter, something like that. But if you don't need Duvall because Duran has proven to be so good, it's something I'd absolutely explore. And I think TC is right to throw Kike Hernandez in there as well. If you've got, if you feel good about Story and Arroyo or Story and somebody else or Story and Valdez or Story and Mondesi if he comes back, you may not need Kike Hernandez. Now, he's a good leader on the team, big part of the clubhouse. That would be tough to overcome. I don't love messing with clubhouse psyche, but it's going to be something more to talk to Buster about tomorrow. The Red Sox are 23-20. The Mariners are 21-21. This would be a huge matchup for the Red Sox to win the series, salvage the homestand, go 2-4, and then go out with some momentum as you go out west. Pitching matchup, this is the first one that's clearly favored the Red Sox. Marco Gonzalez is a soft-tossing lefty. The Red Sox do have a lot of lefties in their lineup, but they have some productive right-handed hitters like Justin Turner. Kike Hernandez is back. Wong is in the lineup tonight. So Marco's a soft tosser. Red Sox have the advantage offensively. And Bello, although his ERA is high, it's over 5, was great against the Braves. And if you can be good against the Braves, you can be good against the Mariners. There's no doubt about that. J.P. Crawford at shortstop. Ty France at first. Julio Rodriguez is in center. Jared Kelenic is in left. He's scuffling a bit for the M's. Eugenio Suarez is at third. Cal Raleigh's in the lineup again today. He's the catcher. Teoscar Hernandez is in right. Taylor Trammell is the DH. Jose Caballero is at second today. We saw him not in this series except for as a pinch hitter. Verdugo leads off in right. Justin Turner's the first baseman at first today. Notice no Casas. Rob Refsnyder is in left, another righty in the lineup. Rafi Devers is at third. Yoshida drops to 5th today against the lefty. He's at DH. Kike Hernandez is back from injury. He's at short. Pablo Reyes is at second. Jaron Duran is in center. And Connor Wong is the catcher. He is behind the plate, and that's 9th. Big series. Big game in a big series. Both teams. Mariners need a win. They're trying to get back over 500. Red Sox need momentum. Looking again, salvage this homestand. Try to make it a 2-4 homestand after getting swept by the Cardinals and losing game 1 against the Mariners. Buster Olney with us tomorrow. Go Celtics. I'll say go Mariners again tonight. We'll see what happens. We'll recap it all, though. That's tomorrow on the Brady Farkas Show on DEV. Sox Baseball Now.